Hello everyone, welcome to a new video of the indicator store. Today I will cover again the concept of using the slope of a line to filter the trades, also to define the trend. We have seen this on previous videos, but today we will do a quick review. So let's say that we have this line. This line is a linear regression. This is my preferred line to define the trend and also to filter signals. The idea is when this is sloping down, I take only shorts. When this is sloping up, I take only longs. Imagine that we have a signal on this red. The first time that I have a red bar after a green bar. And to avoid taking these long signals on the green bars, I can use the slope of this line. So how can I measure the slope of a line? And by looking at the slope of a line, we can also decide how big the slope must be to be interested in taking a signal. For example, on this area, the slope, we can decide that the slope is not enough to enter a trade. But first we need to view in graphical format the slope of this. And I am not using angles because an angle, this can be 45 degrees, but if I stretch or I can expand the axis, this can be almost 90 degrees, or if I do this, then it can be 15 degrees. So it is useless to measure angles on a line on a chart. The most effective way to do that is, this is explained on another video, is looking at the value on one bar of the line and the same value one bar back. So we can take the difference. If it is going up, the current value will be bigger than the previous. And we can do that with the momentum indicator. The momentum indicator with a period of 10 looks at the current value and subtracts the value 10 bars back. But we can, instead of using the price, we can look at this line. So we can place, instead of the close, we place the linear regression. This is a linear regression of 100. Okay. And usually this is the plot, the default plot is a line, but I prefer to use bars. So we can get this histogram. Now, if instead of looking at 10, 10 bars means that the slope, here I have a slope of 0. And if I go here, this is not exactly the point where the line has a slope of 0. We have a 10 bars delay. I can take the momentum of only one bar, but the histogram is less smooth. I get this. Anyway, now the crossover by 0 is here, and we have a coincidence where the line changes from negative slope. We can see we have a negative slope, and here a positive slope, like here. So this is the momentum of period 1 of the line that you want to measure the slope. And this is useful to understand what can we do on the builder if you want to use this as a filter, because I want to enter long only if the momentum of my line is positive or the momentum of my line is negative. And I can also use a threshold. For example, maybe on this area, I am not interested in taking signals until the slope is big enough. Like for example, here. If I use this threshold, I need to take the same value on the positive side. If we look here, we have 1, so we need the same on -1. So we should do nothing while we are between -1 and 1. And when the slope is big enough, like here, then we can take signals. For example, we have a signal here, another here. And what about this? Maybe not, because the slope is not enough. There is a small pullback. So if you have markers, then we can use the equivalent to this, the marker's slope. By default, it is always looking at one bar, the same we did here. So don't change this unless you want to smooth the slope, but also getting a delay. Assign a name, for example, slope for my filter. And on input series, I place the line I want to measure the slope. It is a linear regression with a period of 100. And by default, it is also painting signals. I don't need those signals, but it is painting signals each time there is a crossover by 0. I can change that 0 to 1, the threshold we decided. So we can replace, this is almost 0, but I can place a 1. So I need this slope to be bigger than 1 to paint an up signal, and then below -1 to paint another short signal, and same here. But this is using the slope of a line as a trigger, and I want to use the slope of a line as a filter. So let's forget about this for a moment. Turn off the painting of signals on the marker slope. Don't paint signals. And now we can focus on this. It is supposed that we have some kind of signals that we want to filter. So let's use for example, the open close. For the open close of 1 bar, the most simpler open close, we can use the slope of the price. Don't place nothing here. And looking at the slope of the bar, painting ups and down. Okay. So now we have signals. Each time there is a bar color. And now I want to filter these signals with the slope of this line. So from this point to this point, I want to take the longs. Or not exactly this. I will say only when the slope is bigger than 1, I want to take long. So I take this, not this because it is below, also not this one, maybe this, I don't know, I guess it is below. But anyway, this is the idea. And the same for the shorts. The shorts must be below this level. How can I do that? Very simple. This is not part of the setup. This is my slope, and I assigned the name slope filter. So this is slope filter, and I want to take longs when slope filter is bigger than this number 1. And I want to take shorts when slope filter is below -1. So on markers, I am trading these signals, arrows up in color blue, arrows down in color red, but I want to enable the filters. And the filter is, I already copied on the clipboard the name slope filter, bigger than 1 for longs, and for the shorts, slope filter below -1. So now my filter is ready. So as it is now, let's enable this, enable the strategy. As it is now, it is waiting for an incoming tick. I am on replay, so if I click on play, now there is incoming ticks, and I have long disabled, short disabled. Why? Because this is in the middle of nowhere. I need to be over 1 or below -1. On this bar, for example, we have shorts enabled. So this is the idea. If you want to detect when we are in the chop mode, when we are on this area, between -1 and +1, we can do this. We can use the end indicator. And my condition is that the slope filter is bigger than -1, but also is below 1. So not taking shorts, not taking longs, it is doing nothing. When this is in agreement, we are in the chop zone. I don't want to paint a signal, I only want to see the histogram. And this is the histogram. In this area, this is not bigger than 1, not less than -1. Here, for example, it is not true, because we are below -1. Here, it is not true because we are over +1. So we have all the tools to decide what we want to do. If we want to do something, for example, why this could be useful. Let's say that you want to enter your trades when this has a good slope, and I want to exit my trade when this slope goes back into the no trade area. We can make this to paint a signal. The first time this is true, let's paint a vertical line, for example. A vertical line in color black, because this will be my signal to exit positions. Here the slope is big, and at this point the slope goes below 1. We need to place a horizontal line to understand how this works. This is the same. We can overlap and we get the same result. Okay, So when this is over 1, I am interested in taking longs. But when it comes back inside the area of no trade, because it is below 1, then I get this line. That may be, if I enter long here, then I exit long here. If I enter, let's find for a good signal, for example this one here. This long is over, perfect. So we enter this blue arrow up because the slope is bigger than 1. We can see that here is not true that we are on the neutral zone. So we are long, and at this moment here we close this long because the slope goes back to below +1. So that will be an entry filtered by the slope and an exit decided by the slope. And that's very simple because now we only need to set the exit condition on markers on the strategy, of course. So we disable the strategy. And now we have entries and also exits. If we enable the exits, my exit is a vertical line in color black. Vertical line in color black. The same for the shorts. Click on enable, and now we have the option to turn on or off the filter. If I turn off the filter, I trade all the arrows. If I turn on the filter, I only trade the arrows where the slope is over +1 or the shorts when it is below -1. I can turn off the exit so the vertical lines are ignored, or turn on the exit, so if I am still long on this place, the long will be closed. Okay, hope this has been useful for you, and if you have any question or comment, please post below this video. Thank you, bye bye.